Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today I head to Pittsburgh and visit craft distillery Wiggle Whiskey, and I prepare my Irish whiskey salmon and sautéed kale. But first, it's the return of American Made, the Songwriter Series. Bob DiPiero is one of the top songwriters in Nashville, with numerous #1 and top 20 songs. He writes for the likes of the Oak Ridge Boys, Reba, George Strait, Vince Gill, anyone who needs a great song. For the past few years, he has brought fellow songwriters to town to benefit Compass Family Services. You've been doing this for a few years. Why do you like Compass and the services they provide? This year they're designating funds for the Sojourner House.
Well, when my friend Tim Thomas approached me to do this for Compass, I of course didn't have any background in Compass, so I just started looking into it. Tim started educating me about it, and it was just what a wonderful, miraculous thing to help people who haven't had any help, who need help, who desperately want it. And Compass supplies that, and they supply the love, the everything someone needs, the security. So it just reached out to me, and being from Youngstown, I've been so blessed in my career, and of course it all started here. So it was my chance to come up here and give back. So we started these songwriter shows. Al Anderson is a legend, going back to the rock and roll days of NRBC.
You wrote for the Allman Brothers.
I wrote for the Allman Brothers, one of the 100 greatest living guitarists, et cetera, et cetera. But we have been writing for 20 plus years together. Dear friend. Leslie Satcher is just a monstrous talent from Texas, a real Texan, and she's a great storyteller. And the sweetness is, I started writing with Ian Keggy, and just developed a great friendship with him. And oh, by the way, he happens to be Phil Keggy's son.
Well,
So I just had to say, come on, man, you got to come up here.
Well, he has big shoes to fill, and he's doing a really good job with that.
Ian is doing a great job, and he's creating his own path.
Yes.
And he's walking his own walk, and as you'll see, as folks hopefully at the show will see, he's so supremely talented.
Why Nashville? I mean, that wouldn't seem to be your sensibility, country music.
It was a God thing. I always say I moved to Nashville because I knew my car wouldn't make it to LA. But it was really, I had made trips to New York, and I just couldn't picture myself living in this New York City. And I'd made some trips to Nashville and just fell in love with Nashville. Not so much the country music scene, but just the city itself. And
the pace and the weather, of course.
The guitar was alive and well in Nashville. This was back towards the disco era. The guitars were not very well accepted, so they were alive and well in Nashville. So I made the move.
Who do you follow from the classics, the early guys?
Well, like I said, I had zero background.
Zero knowledge.
Zero background in country music. I knew Johnny Cash because Johnny Cash was on pop radio.
Yeah.
I knew Tammy Wynette because she was on pop radio. But those iconic artists I knew, but I never followed them down into where they started and what their original stuff was. It was only when I moved to Nashville and I started actually digging into what is country music and where did it come from that I started following Johnny Cash's lineage and where his inspiration came from.
In honor of Bob's return, we had to get together, get the band back together.
Get the band back together.
Joy. Oh, such good times, the 70s. You know,
they say
Ralph Desmond and his brother Don were also members of the band. Now, ID yourselves. Who is who?
The best looking guy is Bob, and the second best looking guy is Bob.
Okay,
Best looking guy.
who has the fro?
Ralph,
me.
That's Ralph.
you.
Ralph has the fro.
Okay, did they call you fro?
No.
They should have, man. That should have been your
They
nickname.
called me, hey, you.
And then
Slow
you,
it down.
and I really like all your facial hair.
Oh, we had it
And
going on.
is this you?
No, that's Ralph Vitella, who's passed away.
Okay.
This is Dawn, the rock star.
Dawn. Yeah, very Bob Seger there. You're
Very.
channeling
Got
some
a little bit
Seger
of
there.
Seger going
And then
on.
you
Here I
had
am.
quite a head of hair on you.
So we come directly from Garage. We're the original Garage band.
Garage.
And that band went through several changes. And then you know how bands are. You break up, get back together again, break up, get back together again. And it ended up with Dawn and Ralph and me and another Ralph Vitella, who's since passed away. And we were a band. And then a lead singer found us and he said, I've been trying to get a record deal, but they don't want one guy, they want a group. So you want a record deal? Let's see if we can make a record deal. So we went in somebody's basement and recorded a demo here in Youngstown, and the Joy Band was born. So
This was your first album?
we got our
Your only
That
album.
was our first and only album.
That makes it very
How
rare.
valuable is this? If I went to
Oh,
eBay,
it's
could I
worth
find
tens of
this?
dollars.
I think 20,
It's worth tens of dollars.
Was it as much fun as you thought it was going to be? You saw the Beatles, you saw the
It was a
Screaming
lot of
Band.
fun. We had
Was
a
it
bunch of fun.
are our wives going to see this?
Well, you weren't married when you were in the band. Weren't you guys right out of high school or something?
I was going steady with Diane.
Oh, yes. And you played a lot of
Dawn never
seminaries.
did anything.
Right. He was the priest.
He was
Father to
priest.
Piero.
The rest of us were sinners. You know, rock and roll has kind of become a passé thing, but I still get my shot of classic rock when I can. You know, I still listen to the old rockers, you know, and I'll listen to jazz, I'll listen to folk, I'll listen to anything, because I believe that under the Duke Ellington School of Music that there's two kinds of music, good music and bad music. And you can find both of those in any genre you go into. So I'm always looking for the good stuff.
This year, American Made will feature Bob DiPiero, Kix Brooks, and Rivers Rutherford. The show is April 28th, and tickets are available at youngstownsymphony.com. The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
What kind of brogue is that? Take those off.
Well, you know St. Patrick was Italian, Casey.
He was the Irish patron saint, though.
Oh, we're all Irish on St. Patty's Day.
Well, for the high holiday, you do throw a heck of a party
Day.
here at the tree.
We're talking St. Patrick's Week right here at Magic Tree, and we're kicking it off on Sunday before and after the parade with traditional Irish food. Meet Beauty and the Beast, live music all day long. And then Monday through Thursday, we're going to have Meet the Breweries with free taste, giveaways, and prizes. And then on St. Patrick's Day, kegs and eggs in the morning, live music, and we're doing it all again. And the Shard and Polka Band will be here. They're going to have to check out the website. We have so much going on. Oh yeah, and a hangover party on Saturday with the Labra Brothers.
Sláinte.
Cheers.
All day, you pursue your dreams. And all day, I pursue mine. Knowing we are always there for each other. You are my best friend, my true love. Together, we shine twice as bright. The Ever Us Two-Stone Collection, Forevermark, a diamond is forever. Available at Kamara Jewelers.
Part of growing up in Youngstown is growing up with Rowley Brothers Markets. Even friends who have moved out of town come to shop and say hi when they're home for a visit.
And my family has always shopped at Rowley's, and today they are still my favorite grocery store. My recipes depend on the best ingredients, and that's why I get them at Rowley's, where you'll always find the freshest food at the best prices.
Rowley Brothers is a proud sponsor of the KC Malone Show. The quality that customers have come to expect is true local flavor.
Hurry into a Spitzer location near you to enjoy the lowest prices of the year on some of our best-selling 2016 models. You can save thousands on your new vehicle with the Spitzer Model Year-End Sales Event. Spitzer, saving you more since 1904.
4 for $5 till 6. Happy hour at Sadie's Place inside the Best Western, Route 46, Austin Town.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bernard. The best advice I can give to anybody who suffered an injury is please call a lawyer. Don't try to settle the case on your own. We won't get a fee unless your case is successful. Personal attention is what our clients deserve. It's our #1 priority.
Wiggle Distillery is located in Pittsburgh's Strip District, the first distiller in the city since Prohibition. Stop for the spirits and learn about the history of whiskey in Western Pennsylvania. Mark Meyer and his family are the owners of Wiggle. And Mark, you're going to be celebrating 2 years in the distilling business. This is such a great concept, and you have all your family members involved in this.
We do. We have myself, my wife, my daughter Meredith, and her husband Alex, and then Jeffrey was involved for a while. He was doing some research on the history, and then Eric, our son, is also involved. So it's a very, very family-oriented operation.
And what made you decide on distilling in Pittsburgh?
Do this crazy thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no. Well, actually, the way it started was we were on a trip in Canada. We were at the Shaw Festival. And so we visited as a family some of the wineries, and there were a few family-owned wineries. So it was actually Alex, my son-in-law, and Meredith who had this idea. Wouldn't it be neat to do something like a winery? So on the way back, as we were driving back to Pittsburgh, they were researching on their phones options. And so we said, we don't want to do a winery. But Pittsburgh used to be known for rye whiskey. We went to Michigan State. They have a program. Mm-hmm. They helped us with our first batches. All of our equipment is from Germany, so we worked with this German company. They were very, very helpful. Some of the technical things and helping us work through the initial runs. And so it was really learning from every source you could. Now, what's nice about today is that today there's more of a network.
Saturday is the only day that Wiggle Distillery offers their tours. First one is at 11 a.m. and Bill and Lauren are going to be our tour guides to tell us more about the distilling process.
Well, my name's Lauren.
And my name is Bill. Welcome everyone to Wiggle Whiskey. Pittsburgh was the frontier. Pittsburgh was wild and the people here were wild. A German immigrant, a man by the name of Philip Weigel, heard about this Pittsburgh place and thought, no rules, lots of whiskey. He saw a sign for a place called North Versailles. And he stopped a local and he said, hi, my name's Philip Weigel. Do you guys really say it like that? It's Versailles, you know that, right? And the local, true to form, looked right at him and said, listen here, Mr. Philip Wiggle. The very first tax in our nation's history was a tax on whiskey. And that does not make the people out here in Western Pennsylvania who are making whiskey and who don't have a lot of money to spare on things like taxes, did not make them very happy.
So we are able to pump about 1,500 pounds of grain through this machine in 20 minutes. What happens is that it goes through this auger, and if I were to pop the top off of that, it looks like a giant corkscrew. We had that grist, that flour, it ground up, carry it back up the other auger, and it goes into what we call mashers. We had hot water, and when hot water is added, the carbohydrates break down into sugars.
Philip Wiggle and his friends had just had a tax passed on them, and they were not very happy about it. So he and his friends get together, and they go to the home of a man by the name of Benjamin Wells, and Benjamin Wells had the unfortunate job of being the tax collector for the region at the time. They get to talking, and that turns into a bit of an argument and a bit of a disagreement, and a scuffle breaks out. Back in the day, what really got Pittsburghers going was the news of a good fight. And so when they found out that Philip Wiggle punched public enemy number one, Benjamin Wells, the tax collector, they get very excited. Very, very excited. In fact, they get so excited that they start protests, and those protests turn into riots, and those riots continue for years and come to be known as the Whiskey Rebellion. That was us right here in Pittsburgh.
Now we're going to ferment that. This is really one of the most vital parts of making really any liquor. So we have our mash in these containers, and we add the ever so exciting yeast. So once that alcohol vapor starts to come off of the still, it either went through something like this, or it went through something really, or goes through something really cool like this.
We are all sitting here today in the first whiskey distillery in the city of Pittsburgh since the end of Prohibition. So let's finally drink to that.
Well, I think this is a great, fun place, and I love the story with Philip Wiggle. I love the namesake and the history. I mean, this really is a true Monongahela story, you know, for Western Pennsylvania. I mean, it really is a great history lesson.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we really want to do the whiskey, because it really is, it really comes out of the Pittsburgh tradition, and it has so many roots in, you know, American history, with, you know, George Washington being a distiller and Thomas Jefferson. He made some whiskey. He was more of a winemaker. I don't think his whiskey turned out to be very good, but it was such a way of life then. But we really, I mean, our mission is we want to be local as much as possible. We want to be organic, and we want to experiment. So we're doing a lot of different things, and we're able to do that because we can build this local customer base.
When I want local flavor, I watch Casey Malone.
Hi everybody, I'm Danny, owner and operator of Cthulhu Prime Meats, a third-generation butcher shop that not only specializes in quality, but also in customer service and doing things in a new technological way. Chris here is our customer service manager. Chris, what do you think that we do differently than any other grocery store?
I think we personally not only offer great product, but we can offer a great customer service experience as well. We try and treat all our customers like they were family and friends, ask how their family's doing just so they can keep in touch, and give them that customer experience that they deserve.
And the nice part is we not only do that inside the store, but also on CthulhuPrimeMeats.com, where you can buy a lot of our products that we carry here, whether it be grass-fed beef, organic chicken, some of our specialty burgers and bacon. Those are wonderful, and we're going to provide that same customer experience online as we do in store.
Come see us in store or online. Make your next meal one to remember.
$5 Burger Mondays at Sadie's Place, inside the Best Western, Route 46, Austintown.
If you haven't heard by now, Benjamin Moore Paints and Stains are the best you can buy, and R&S Paint is where you want to buy them. R&S Paint provides comfortable and convenient shopping to make your color decisions easier. And speaking of color, your possibilities are endless, because Benjamin Moore is an innovator in color technology. Benjamin Moore is the brand that gives you that freshly painted, longer-lasting look without the smell. Stop in today, R&S Paint, Youngstown, Poland Road.
Hurry into a Spitzer location near you to enjoy the lowest prices of the year on some of our best-selling 2016 models. You can save thousands on your new vehicle with the Spitzer Model Year-End Sales Event. Spitzer, saving you more since 1904.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bernard. The best advice I can give to anybody who suffered an injury is please call a lawyer. Don't try to settle the case on your own. We won't get a fee unless your case is successful. Personal attention is what our clients deserve. It's our #1 priority.
There's a new standard in assisted living, one that combines comfort, luxury, convenience, and the highest quality expert care. Your loved ones can experience it now in Canfield's premier senior living location.
The Inn at Ironwood offers fine dining and amenities such as a concierge, salon, housekeeping, and laundry services.
And a truly elegant setting in Canfield.
Call us for more information or visit us and take a tour.
The Inn at Ironwood, Canfield's premier senior living location.
Yes, Nanette. See Nanette Lepore's latest collection at Suzanne's and receive 20% off your Nanette Lepore purchase. Suzanne's, Presidential Square, Boardman.
Today I'm going to prepare 2 wonderful Irish dishes in honor of St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to do my Irish whiskey salmon, and I'll also prepare my sautéed kale with bacon. You don't have to go traditional and Irish stew and corned beef all the time when you're looking to celebrate the wonderful ingredients from Ireland. So let's get started. We'll get the marinade going for my Irish whiskey salmon. For this recipe, you'll need 1 salmon fillet, about 1 to 1.5 pounds, 2 tablespoons of honey, 1/4 cup cider vinegar, 1/4 cup Irish whiskey, 2 teaspoons of chopped fresh thyme, the zest grated from 1 lemon, 2 tablespoons of canola oil, and salt and fresh ground pepper to taste. What I'm going to do is prepare a marinade for the salmon, and we'll get that going. It needs to be at room temperature for about an hour, soaking in the marinade. So let's get started. We will start with the honey. I always like honey in a marinade because it adheres nicely to whatever meat you're using, and in this case, the salmon. So we'll put that into the bowl, and then we will add the cider vinegar. We'll start to mix that around because the honey does, there it is, blends very nicely. Now, instead of Jameson's or Patty's, in this recipe, I'm going to use our friends from Wiggle Whiskey. I'm going to use their organic wheat whiskey in this recipe, so we'll add 1/4 cup of that, and then we'll add the fresh chopped thyme. A little trouble getting that out. And then the zest from 1 lemon, the canola oil, and that's it. And then at the very end, just add a little bit of fresh salt and fresh ground pepper. That's it. All right, we'll cook this in the oven over a high heat when we're ready, but now we'll just put this aside, and while this is marinating, we'll prepare the sauteed kale. For this recipe, you'll need 6 slices of Canadian bacon, regular bacon, or ham, your choice, 1 medium cooking onion chopped, 5 cloves of minced garlic, 1.5 to 2 pounds of kale, rinsed, middle stems removed, and coarsely chopped, 3 tablespoons of Irish butter, 1/2 cup of chicken stock, 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, juice from 1 lemon, and salt and pepper to taste. We'll start with frying the Canadian bacon, or regular bacon, or ham, whatever you prefer. And if you want to go vegetarian, don't use any of this at all. Okay, so it's over medium-high heat, and I like Canadian bacon because it's not super salty, but it has a lot of flavor, and it really cooks down nicely without a lot of fat. As you can see, the pan is pretty dry, and we browned this nicely. So I'm just going to take this off the heat and put that on a paper towel, although I'm really not going to need that. So we'll return the pan to the heat, and now we'll add the Irish butter. Oh, look at that. I use unsalted, and we'll melt this down. We don't want it to burn, so we'll lower the heat to medium. Good time to add the onion. Onions add a wonderful flavor to everything. So we'll add that, mix that, and then the garlic. Now this looks like a lot of kale for this pan, but remember, this will cook down. So we'll just add this and combine it to our onions and garlic. Well, all of that kale fit into this skillet. See, it just continues to soften and cook down. So now is a good time to add the chicken stock so we get a little more liquid there. And to help move along the softening, we will place a lid on top and then turn the heat down to medium-low. And we'll let this cook for a little bit more, about 5 more minutes, so it's softened further. This salmon should only take about 10 minutes. I preheated the oven to 450, and now we'll place it in, and we'll check it about 10 minutes from now. It's been about 5 minutes with the cover on, and now we'll remove that, and as you can see, this kale has softened quite a bit. Now we'll leave the lid off, and we will add our heavy whipping cream. And it's not going to be a really creamy vegetable dish, swimming in heavy cream. And now that that's stirred in nicely, we will add the lemon juice, and this adds such a nice tang. So what we'll do is increase the heat to medium, and then we'll let this cook for a few more minutes until most of the liquid has evaporated. Well, as you can see, most of the liquid is gone and everything is nice and soft. So now is a good time to add our Canadian bacon or whatever meat you are using. And we will just combine this to the kale until it is warmed through. Well, it's been exactly 10 minutes at 450 degrees. I reserved some of the marinade, and what I like to do, because there's a little honey in this, I turned it from baking to broil. And I'm just gonna dab a little bit of this marinade on to get a nice little crust on top for about a minute or two before I remove this salmon from the oven. These are wonderful dishes that you can enjoy every day of the year. You definitely don't have to wait for St. Patrick's Day. But this salmon, oh, it is beautiful. Perfectly done. The high heat really preserves the juiciness and the flavor. So simple, so delicious. And I just love this kale. It is so good for you. And it is just so delicious. And I'll tell you, that lemon juice really adds a nice tang. You are gonna love this. Healthy, good Irish food. And what do I recommend for a pairing? Irish whiskey, might not be a bad idea. Or how about a nice Irish beer? I love Hart. It is the nice Pilsner from St. James Gate, and it is delicious and refreshing with this salmon. Perfect palate cleanser. Go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com, for the complete recipe for the kale and the salmon. You're gonna enjoy it. Happy St. Patrick's Day. The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.